How you going, guys? I've fitted the traction control mod, and just like a few other people reported, it works great, but when it comes to turning it off, you can't seem to be able to turn it off once you've driven for a while. I was trying to work out how I could replicate turning it off like you can with the rear diff lock, but I couldn't work it out. I think it's something to do with driving over a certain speed for a certain amount of time. But anyway, I managed to work out that I could, if I drop the power from the ATSC ECU for a little while, then it all seems to reset. Otherwise, before that, what I was having to do was roll the ignition, as in turn the car off and on again, which is a real pain. So what I've done is I've gone for a drive for a little while, turned the traction control button that I put in on and left it on for a bit, and all the lights have come on indicating that the traction control is disabled. But as I go to turn it off, it's still staying on there, no matter how many times I press it and for how long I do it. So what I've done is I've fit the switch that cuts the power to the ATSC ECU, and all I need to do is push it for a second, and if you watch on the dash, after a couple of seconds, it all resets. How sweet. Cheers. Okay guys, so to go through a bit more detail of what I was talking about before, here we have the wiring diagram for the ASTC ECU. I was calling it the ATSC ECU before, so obviously incorrect. Anyways, basically what I'm doing to reset the traction control once it's activated, when it's not disabling, to reset it again, I'm cutting a power supply to the ECU, which is this sucker down the bottom. Now, if you wanted to just test it before you go ahead and do this modification, there is a fuse here that if you pull it out and put it back in, it will essentially do the same thing. It's fuse number 12, it's a 7.5 amp fuse, and it's found in your kick panel on the driver's side. So, if I go a bit more zoom, here's where I've done the modifications. So this wire here is that power supply to the ECU. What I've done is I've cut it, and then on one wire I've put going to powering a relay, as well as powering the momentary on switch. On the other side of the momentary on switch goes to pin number 85. On 86 is just going to ground, 87 is going nowhere, and 87A is going to the ECU. So what basically happens is, under normal conditions, without that switch pushed in, this momentary on one, then the power supply will flow through the relay, through the contacts, through 87A, and then to the ECU. It's basically as if you haven't done any modifications whatsoever. When you push this momentary on button, then what it does is it powers this coil and brings these contacts down here. What that means is the power then goes up through and then down to this point here, where it's nowhere. Now, because this is a momentary on switch, as soon as you release it, then it springs returns up. So what it will mean is that it will this contact here will go down and then open again. What that will do is cut the power to the ECU for a second and then bring it back on. And what that does is let it sort of resets, and that way your traction control is enabled again. Now, this plug here is D232 and it's pin number 63. So here's a picture of it here, and it's the very bottom right, second from the right sort of thing, and pin number 63. It is a red and white wire. I'll show you a picture in a second of what it actually looks like. Here's the switch setups that I've got, ASC being obviously factory, the traction control disable button, which is an AOB switch that I bought, as well as this switch that I put in. So this is the momentary on switch. This is what resets it all. I just got this from, I local store and Ultronics, but you can get them anywhere, any of those sort of stores. Just keeping in mind that these switches don't hold a lot of current, so that's why I put a switch in with it, and that takes the load off the switch. Here's a little picture of it all sort of finished anyway. That's the relay that I put. This is the plug you want to be getting that Y63 from. I'll give another photo of it. Alright, so that's that plug there, and this is the wire here that you want. So it's the bottom one, second from the right. Here's a photo of that blanking switch. I've just drilled it out, and then I've been able to put in this little switch here. So this particular one that I've got, these two terminals were for the contacts, and these ones here are for illumination, positive or negative. I chose not to have any illumination, but you might want to if you wanted to have, I don't know, the light up when you turn your headlights on and that sort of thing, so you can see where it is. I personally chose not to, and that's another photo of it. Hit me up in the comments if you've got any questions, and I don't recommend doing this mod if you don't really know what you're doing, if you're not really that good with electrics and soldering and all that sort of thing. This is not like a stupid car stereo where if it doesn't work, then the worst case scenario is you don't have any music. This could affect safety devices and things like that. Good luck, guys.